We talk about happiness for the last 2 sessions. Okay, verse 15 of Dhammapada. Remember, we talk about the highest happiness. So the Buddha actually talk about that in Dhammapada, and we looked at verse 15 last time. Now we look at verse 16. And remember, in Dhammapada, it's always like 2 verses, they come together, and one is, the other, the contrary to the other one. So verse 16, he said, the doer of good rejoices here and hereafter. So we all know what does he mean by here and hereafter. See if that works. Here, that means now, right now. And hereafter, that means the time after right now. And also it could mean the time after this lifetime. Okay? And in this world and in the world after. Okay, that's what he means. Here and hereafter, and also rejoices in both the worlds that we are living in right now and the world that we will be living in. But does it really matter? Does it really matter if you don't believe in reincarnation, if you do not believe in next life? Does it really matter? No. It doesn't, right? You still have to try to be skillful in your actions, because what matters is right now, right here. At least right now, right here, if you are performing good deeds, then you rejoices right here, then you won't be like miserable. But if you don't, if you are continuously doing unskillful deeds, then you grieve here and hereafter, and grieve in both the worlds, and it's not worth it. Okay? So that's the important part, is here and hereafter, and this world and the world after this. So he rejoices in and he excels, recollecting his own pure deeds. Why would skillful deeds bring happiness?
Plants good seeds for its karma.
Yeah. But why would it bring happiness right now? Right now. It just comes?
It just does.
It just does. You all agree? It just does. Eva asked me to go on a Netflix. Is that Netflix or Netflix?
Flicks.
Or Flex, okay. And she showed me a movie and talking about happy or be happy.
It's just called Happy.
It's just called Happy. About this coach in America, and going to school, talking about bullying and stop bullying. He doesn't ask people to stop bullying. He asks people to share the experience of being bullied. And this little guy called Joey, actually he came out and he said, I'm the shortest among the whole group. There were about like 100 kids in the gym that day. And this little guy was really small, huh? It's really small for the class that he was in. And he said, I am small, I'm the shortest person in here. And people kept calling me names and all that. And he started crying. This is not nice. He said, this is... And he started to be very temperamental. He started to get angry. And this big coach actually held him there. He's okay. Calm down, man, calm down. Come on, calm down. So, you're okay. We all love you. So this little fellow started to calm down and actually share his feelings. And then the other group actually, the whole gang in the gym actually gave him a big applause. And then when they walk out of the gym, he was on the bigger ones, he was on their shoulders. They carry him out like as if he was a king, sitting on an elephant, big elephant, white elephant. So, it's true, it just does bring happiness when you do good deeds, right? And that actually neutralizes a lot of our miseries. So the skillful deeds always bring skillful results, we all know. And is it because We want skillful results. We want good consequences. That's why we behave skillfully.
Shouldn't.
Huh?
Shouldn't.
Should.
Shouldn't.
No. No. Why? Don't just answer. There's always some questions after.
You give do good things without expecting any return.
Yes, that's right. Otherwise, it's a false skillful intention, right? It's not true. It's not sincerely done, and it's not true. Okay? You are not putting your hand up, right?
No, I'm poking my finger in my eye.
Okay, all right.
Kissy.
Yes.
So, last week when we were going over verse 15,
Yeah.
up until then I thought of that verse as quite painful.
Quite painful. Oh.
Because it is painful to recollect things that you've done in the past that have hurt other people. But then I thought, actually, it's very lucky if you're even able to do that. Because people hurt without knowing. I hurt without knowing.
Yes.
But those times that I can go, it might be painful, and at the same time, it's an opportunity.
Good. That's the whole thing of practice, is to become aware that it's a good opportunity for you to improve. Otherwise, there's no way, I keep feeling guilty, I keep feeling remorseful, but you never come to find out that, geez, this is a golden opportunity. I realize this. So, you remember next time, then you won't do it again. Otherwise, you keep multiplying those negativities that constantly come with that thought. It's not going to help you anywhere. It's not going to help you to go anywhere, right? Unless you realize, yes, I have done that. I have hurt others. I have hurt myself. How can I be better? Rather than feeling, remorseful, guilty, shame all the time. How can I be better? And when you ask yourself that question, how can I be better? That means you want to improve. You want to be a better person, and you want to correct yourself. But if you don't ask yourself that question, you do not plant a seed in the mind, a new seed in the mind to actually correct. And you will say, as we talked about last time, you will continuously wanting to stay in that bubble. Whenever circumstances arise that become very challenging, and you say, I go back to that bubble, because that is familiar, very familiar. And you sort of feel safe in that bubble. Even that bubble might not be the most ideal bubble, may consider some really not a good bubble at all. But somehow, people do go back to that kind of bubble because it's so familiar. They feel that it is safer to be in there rather than to be out there. You remember, Eva. Can't remember his name. He's been discharged. He's been released. The fisherman.
Oh, Gary.
Yes. Oh, he's still there. He said, I'd rather to be in the prison. I've got a roof, I've got food, I've got everything looked after. I don't have to go back out there. He said, it's such a pleasure to be here in the prison. He finds it's a bubble that he's very comfortable in and is safe. And rather than going out there, have to look for a job, have to, go through all those hassles with relating with people, and that's the thing. And with that kind of seed, how will one be happy? The true happiness. How will one be truly happy? It's impossible. I'm glad. Good. Eva, thank you for bringing out that point. Wonderful. All right? Good. Okay, so let's look at Dhammapada again. You see, there are two verses. Verse 69. He said, so long as an evil deed has not ripened, the fool thinks it as sweet as honey. Oh, isn't that true? It's so true that we think, because we don't see the consequence. And we don't see the consequence. And so we think, oh, it is okay. And they are not worried about the consequence either. So they don't see that seed is just being dormant. And eventually, if that ripens, there's going to be hell. Okay? But when the evil deed ripens, the fool comes to grief. That's why in the Chinese Buddhist saying, all the ancient masters said, all the bodhisattvas who actually devoted themselves for the well-beings of all humanity, all beings, for the happiness of all beings, they are very, very careful with planting the seed. They are very careful, and they are very worried about the seed. But for sentient beings like us, we only worry about the consequences. Because when things happen, we don't remember that we are actually constantly planting seed. Only when the result comes, oh, I wish I haven't done this. Right? I wish I haven't said this. I wish I could have done it that differently. Right? You all agree? Very much, isn't it? So that's why we are always afraid of the consequences. We never be careful when we plant seed. So now in this verse, he said, only a fool thinks that is as sweet as honey, because they are never aware. They are never careful. But what about okay. And he said, truly an evil deed committed does not immediately bear fruit. It doesn't. Right? If you sort of plant a seed, it doesn't come right away. It doesn't spring up right away. It might come this year, it might come next year, or it might never come. Okay? Does that mean that seed will not bear fruit? No. Eventually, when conditions become favorable, right for that seed to bear fruit, it will spring up and it will bear fruit. He said, truly an evil deed committed does not immediately bear fruit. Like milk that does not turn sour all at once. Right? You put the milk in the fridge for 7 days. Then slowly it turns sour. He said, but smoldering, it follows the fool like fire covered by ashes. Ooh, that's... But when we look at these verses, at this time, we are so much aware. So, oh yeah, I'd be better. I'll be careful in planting the good seed. I'll be careful in saying the good thing. I'll be careful doing all the good deeds. But once you walk out of Holam store tomorrow, when you see that person, and when you do that thing, all over again, all over again. Why is that?
Not mindful.
Yeah, and also habit, right? The habit is so strong. When you are not mindful, then the habit overcomes you. It takes you by your nose. You follow me. Right? That mind, that cunning mind, that tricky mind just take you away without you knowing. Just like a wave come and sweep you away. But
teachings here now make you aware that quicker.
Yes.
That you, I mean, like sometimes
Yes.
like the emotions and stuff will carry you off. Like you're mindful. Or
Yes.
Learning here.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, even halfway through, it's like, oops.
Yes. Yes.
You can backpedal a little bit and go.
Yeah. Just stop it. Yeah, yeah. Even though you cannot be, fully corrected, at least you take one little step, many little steps make a big step. But you see, I always say that you guys are the lucky group, the fortunate group, because in Chilliwack you do have Polang, and you do have teachings. I'm not a very good teacher, but I'm trying my best. Trying my best to share, trying my best to to teach, and through this teaching, actually, I learned so much myself. I learned so much. I'm just amazed with myself sometimes, because what I said is, oh, where did you learn that from? Where did you get that experience from? Oh, yes, through Dhamma classes, through sharing, through reading, and through my own meditation. It grows and keep growing, never stops growing.
It becomes the new habit.
Yes, we're going to watch a video after this whole thing. I wish we have time to watch a 20 minutes video, and it becomes a new habit because we are actually training the mind, another part of the mind to be different, a new mind, a new mindset, a new mind dealing with things, a new habit. So we all have hope. You know why? That's why we are all future Buddhas. Why do you think that we are future Buddhas? Like this, you're going to be a Buddha? How can you be a Buddha? Yes, we all can be a Buddha. As long as we are mindful, as long as we are scrupulous, as long as we are diligent in walking on this path, little step, eventually you and me will become Buddha. Because all those feathers will be removed. All those dust will be dust off. And we will be pure and wise. Yeah? Isn't that so optimistic? So bright, isn't it? Wonderful. That's why the Buddha said, if you walk on this path, you will abandon, you will eradicate all your sufferings. You will be a completely happy person. And he is honest. He was very honest. It's all truth. I say, if you practice and you become more and more miserable, then the Buddha was lying. If you're walking on the path, you're practicing with your whole heart, walking on the right path, and if you become miserable, it's impossible. Because the lighter you get, the faster you will walk. The fitter you are, the faster you will run, right? That's the logic. That's common sense, and we all know that. So our baggage of karma is lighter and lighter with the practice, then definitely we will be a happier person. But if you start to practice and if your afflictions become more and more, that means you're on the wrong direction. You're on the right path, but you veer off from the path.
Can't it also be that some of your bad karma from the past is ripening and
Yes.
and so you will experience some bad things. It's not like
Yes, you will experience the unskillful things. You will, but you will still be very equanimous, even when.
gone,
Yeah, even those evil karma, manifesting themselves at certain moment of your life, but you will still be not miserable. You say, oh, haha, now golden opportunity for me to eradicate my karma. Isn't it nice that I still have my human breath, and I still have this chance to, lessen my baggage? You won't feel miserable, because there's an opportunity, right? It's true, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. I'm glad that you all agree. So he said, mindfulness and right understanding is clear awareness of one's behavior and thoughts. So when we engage in wrong behavior because we have faulty understanding, right? At that moment, definitely there is faulty understanding. Otherwise, how can you engage in wrongful behavior? We have people coming. We have people come from restorative justice this morning, and we talk about these youths, offenders, the young offenders. I said, yes, it's nice to provide all these restorative practices to them, but you guys need to think. How are you going to rehabilitate their mind? Rehabilitating their mind is the most important, because without themselves being aware what drives them to offend, they're going to re-offend again and again and again, because it's impossible for them to correct. And if they become aware that, oh yeah, this thought is arising, and because of this thought, I offended before, and now I better be smart and just watch it, and don't allow this thought to manifest itself into actions, right? I said, you guys have to think and see if you can integrate some kind of practice in that. And I offer myself, of course, as a meditation teacher. I said, I can go and teach those guys if you want, I just offer it, but see if it will flourish. But anyway, I said, you really need to do that. You really need to do that. So faulty understanding is because they don't think right, or they think this is right. Right? A lot of people think that, oh, this is okay. Running a stop sign, nobody there, nobody will watch me. It's okay to run a stop sign. It's pretty safe to run a stop sign. 12 o'clock at night, nobody, no police, no pedestrians, it's okay. That's a faulty understanding. Yes?
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work?
No. I lived up in Columbia Valley, and my nephew ran the theater in town, and his cleaning lady quit, so I used to go down at 2 o'clock in the morning from Columbia Valley to go clean the theater.
Yeah.
And there's nobody up in Columbia Valley at 2 o'clock in the
Yeah,
morning. So
right.
I ran the stop sign. I was going way over the speed limit, and all of a sudden there's lights in behind me.
Good for you.
Yeah, the trouble was it was either my husband, 'cause he
Oh.
was working with
Oh, your husband was RCMP.
working with the RCMP at the time, yeah.
Your
Oh,
husband
he was
catching you?
Yeah, it was him.
Really? Did he give you a ticket?
No.
Oh. Well, we have to edit it, okay? Otherwise, her husband would be in trouble.
Karma's going to get me next lifetime for that one, right?
Yeah. Wow. What a coincidence. It's not coincidence.
No.
It's meant to be. So faulty understanding. And of course, with a polluted mind, right? If the minds are not pure, they definitely will manifest into impure actions. So, what are the pollutants of the mind? Okay, quiz time. Jeopardy, they said. What are the pollutants of the mind? You all know. Yes, greed. Anger, good. The third one.
Craving.
Craving is greed. Come on, you are English-speaking people. Delusion, yeah. Ignorance, delusion. And there are actually a couple more. Doubts and pride, arrogance also could be the pollutants, but they are not as bad as not as strong as the first three, okay? So normally people just talk about the first three great pollutants, the craving or greed, anger or ill will or hatred, and ignorance or delusion, okay? So remember that. So that actually pollutes our mind. And also, old habit pattern of reaction. So the old habit pattern of reaction is actually stored inside the mind. In the old Pali Canon, they only talk about the 6 consciousness. Okay, 6 consciousness. This is 6, but this is a Chinese symbol of 6. Yeah, a Chinese symbol of 6. Okay, so 6 consciousness: the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the touch, and the mind. right? Only 6 consciousness. But in the Abhidhamma, they talk about the 7th consciousness and the 8th consciousness. The 7th consciousness is just like a moving company. So moving all the consciousness, all the 6 consciousness, all those new consciousness from these 6 senses, and then pick and then stored into the 8th consciousness. So in the Pali Canon, it doesn't talk about the 8th consciousness, but where does it get stored? It gets stored into the 8th consciousness. So we call that in the mundane world, they call that the subconscious mind, and I call that a computer chip. Okay, so how many T's, how many gigs in there? Enormous. But in the Pali Canon, they do mention something like a sleeping volcano. That's the 8th consciousness. It's actually hiding, storing all these things, all these informations. And those informations follows you when you die. Why are we going to be reborn in this realm? Why are we going to be reborn in that realm? The whole body is dead, and all the 5 senses are gone. So what is leading us? Is that storage. Information, the information that's stored in there. That's why I always tell you guys is, remember, be careful what you read, be careful what you hear, be careful what you taste, be careful what you smell, be careful what you touch. Because those are all informations that's going to feed into the mind. And they get stored away by the 7 consciousness. It moves it from here to there and store inside. And when conditions come together, it ripens. So you see why these young kids would take a gun and go into a school to shoot. Why? They have stored some information like that. They can do it. If they're angry enough, I should do this. This is a revenge. Oh, this is how you can revenge. Why would they do that? Because they have that information inside their mind. Get it? Sounds logical, isn't it? Yeah. So be very, very careful what you put through your 5 senses, your 6 senses. Very, very careful. That's why very careful to watch what kind of movies, listen to what kind of music, and listen to what kind of talks. Very careful, because every bit you put in through the senses is going to be stored away.
But shouldn't you, through your mindfulness and meditation, shouldn't you be able to delete those bad influences right away so it doesn't get stored?
When your mindfulness is very strong.
Yes,
when your mindfulness is very strong. But you never know when you are weak. You don't know. When you become very fragile. And those storage information just surface that when you are very fragile, what happens?
I think most of the people here are weak.
Thanks, Sam.
They love you. They just love you.
We were weak. So we're here to find some strength.
Yeah. But sometimes we are not very strong. Because sometimes when those things manifest, they could be overwhelming, very powerful. Those sleeping volcanoes, when they what do you call it? Erupt? Oh, they could be very powerful. So they could be. Yeah. They could make a person insane. Really. Just wait until you go into very, very serious, deep meditation. You will be able to see that. But these 2 hours a day is really a dip in the water, doesn't get you wet.
No, I remember you mentioned like 2 weeks ago that you would find yourself like lonely, alone.
Lonely, yeah.
And I found myself that last. I didn't know what you meant. But after that I was feeling it. And
Yeah.
I understood. I think to me, I was in the zone where finally I was understanding the true meaning of compassion, and yet I was so alone because I see my loved ones, other people doesn't understand yet. That's
Yes.
why I felt so alone.
Yes.
I couldn't understand it, but then when you mentioned it, and I finally, I think to me that's
Understanding.
why I was feeling alone and
Yeah.
lonely. Not,
Yeah.
I wasn't alone, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I was feeling it, and
Yeah.
I didn't know until you mentioned it, and
Yeah.
I kind of understood afterward because
Good.
like I can understanding compassion and I feel bad because some of my
They don't understand.
No, okay.
They're not walking side by side with you.
Yeah, I feel kind of not mad at them, but frustrated, but
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Well, they don't have the karma yet. The karma hasn't ripened yet. You see, that's why they're not here. Okay. Good. All right. Go on. Done. So mindfulness and right understanding in the positive perspective is we do need to develop this skillful understanding of the law of cause and effect. Okay. And he also mentioned that the right understanding when you couple it with mindfulness is you have to be very mindful of the Four Noble Truths constantly in your life, and you're feeling miserable, and a lot of times we forget to address that. Oh, this is misery. We forget, and we just say, I'm miserable. You just forget, oh, this is misery. You forget to recognize and you forget to address that. When you are not mindful to address such thing, then a lot of times you'll be tied down by that miseries for a few days, for a few weeks, for a few months, until somebody come and point you, hey, what's going on with you? You look very sulky. Hey, are you okay? Can we talk about it? Then, oh, yes, I am miserable. And you started, oh, yeah, this is the cause of my miseries. And now, oh, yes, there's a way out of my miseries. So, Four Noble Truths are not just for theoretical study. It's really for you to integrate into your life and try to see if you start feeling unhappy and try to ask yourself, where does that come from? Why am I unhappy? Is there a way out? And how can I walk on this way out? Then the Dhamma guarantees you that you'll be a very happy person very soon. Because you start to ask yourself. Because that's mindfulness. That's when mindfulness comes in. Because you become aware. Hey, yes, I need to find out why. And I need to find out how to abolish all these miseries. Yeah? We all have studied that. So it's just to repeat them. So remember the 8 different types of miseries, dissatisfactions. Anybody volunteers an answer? Uh-oh. Or you want to sort of go home and study and then answer me later on?
Having that which is unwanted.
Yes, one, okay.
Sickness.
Huh?
Sickness.
Sickness, okay. 2,
Not having what is wanted.
okay. 3, birth, okay. What comes with birth? You get
Disease,
you
aging.
get old aging, sickness. 2 more. Separation from your loved ones. Whether it's a stuffed toy, whether it's a dilly bar, whether it's your loved ones or husbands or parents. Dying, she mentioned. That one is the difficult. The 5 aggregates, the attachment to this body, the attachment to this 5 aggregates. Yeah? Remember that? So this whole thing is actually causing a lot of dissatisfactions in life. Okay? So remember that. That is a must to remember. the eight different types of dissatisfactions. And there's the noble truth, right? The cause of dissatisfactions, and the stopping of the dissatisfaction, and the path leading to the cessation of the dissatisfaction. This comes too fast. The path leading to the cessation of dissatisfactions, when you can actually abolish all the dissatisfactions, that means you're cleaning up that storage. You're cleaning up that storage. Then we will eventually really be liberated. And the whole path of practicing is actually liberate ourselves from our own miseries. That's all. And all the miseries actually just come from our own reactions, from our own judgment, from our own analysis, from our own interpretations, from our own expectations. It's nobody's fault. Nobody's fault. It's our own fault. 200% our own fault. Okay? So mindfulness will help us to understand each of these 8 steps, 8 types of difficulties. And mindfulness will help us to understand the 8 steps in this noble path. So if we are continuously mindful of our own thoughts, whereby we will actually have skillful intentions, and skillful intentions will manifest in skillful actions. That's so simple. It's just a chain reaction. It's so simple, but it's so difficult to be put in place and to practice, to keep continuously practicing. But let us don't lose hope, okay, and just keep practicing. All right?